Hollywood is an insane place, and people do things for different reasons without rationalizing the outcome. And in the case of Clint Eastwood, well, people hate him for different reasons. Clint Eastwood is one of Hollywood's most notorious figures, known for his dashing good looks, wildly intense stares, and exuding a confidence that some people came to fear. And it's no shocker that he has made some enemies along the way too. Before we get into all those who absolutely hate Clint Eastwood, let's get to know a little about him, his accomplishments, and perhaps a few reasons why he should be hated. Clint Eastwood began acting in the early 1950s, and he's still very much at it today. He has had a successful showbiz career spanning over 6 decades, which has included dozens of on-screen credits, 5 Oscar wins, including the coveted Irving G. Thalberg Memorial Award in 1995, and a well-respected production company, Malpaso, which has produced most of his blockbusters. The acclaimed actor-director was even the mayor of Carmel, California in the late 80s. No big deal. Oh, and he has a reported $375 million to his name. Basically, as the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences once succinctly proclaimed, Eastwood is easily one of the film industry's most respected actors and directors. You would agree that all of these achievements is enough to have people hate him. But aside from these, a few reasons why some don't agree with him is due to his interpretation of some roles, his conservative political views, and it appeared some were jealous of his success while others didn't like his point of view and vocality on certain issues. Clint apparently made quite a number of enemies from actors to directors, and the sweet thing, he was unapologetic about it, and he didn't even mind. Now, let's look at 10 celebs who absolutely hated Clint Eastwood. Number 1. Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio has lived a storied life beneath the Hollywood sign in California, with an impressively extensive career that even includes an Academy Award. However, perhaps one of his greatest achievements is the people he worked with. Leonardo cannot say the same about Clint Eastwood. DiCaprio worked with Clint Eastwood on the 2011 movie J. Edgar, and despite delivering a vibrantly powerful performance as the titular J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI director, this work is not considered one of DiCaprio's greatest roles. It was a role that clearly spoke to DiCaprio, who reportedly cut his usual fee of $20 million down to just $2 million to star in the film. However, Eastwood, known for an incredibly efficient shooting style, would rarely offer an actor more than one chance to deliver the scene. This unique way of filmmaking would naturally keep costs of production down, and Eastwood's way of directing led to DiCaprio avoiding to work with Eastwood in future. Rumors have swirled that DiCaprio was less than impressed with Eastwood's working methods, with Dame Judi Dench, DiCaprio's co-star, offering a view of their time on set. During a Royal Literary Festival, Dench confirmed that Eastwood would be very casual with his direction, often saying, "in your own time" instead of "action," something that would trouble the veteran star. And then you'd say, "Right, and get ready to do it again." No, you didn't do it again. You only got one go at it. However, when DiCaprio asked for a retake and Eastwood shut down his request for a second take, everything came to a boil, and it was said that Clint calmly walked off the set. Ever since then, we've not seen a collaboration between the two of them, and there is a very good chance that his time working with Clint Eastwood is over for good, and J. Edgar will remain their one and only collaboration. Number 2. Armie Hammer. Armand Douglas Hammer began his acting career with guest appearances in several television series before having his first leading role was as Billy Graham in the 2008 film Billy: The Early Years, and he eventually gained wider recognition for his double role portraying the twins Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss in David Fincher's biographical drama film The Social Network, 2010, for which he won the Toronto Film Critics Association Award for Best Supporting Actor. Just like Leonardo DiCaprio, Armie Hammer claimed that Clint's style of shooting one take and moving on was so unusual. Hammer actually thought a take was just the rehearsal, and Eastwood decided to print it and move on. This got Hammer so flustered, and he tried explaining to him that he had his script in his hand the entire time, to which Clint simply said, "I'll edit the script out." You should know that before accepting this role, Armie had first rejected it because he believed he didn't understand the character. "He didn't make sense to me," says Hammer. "I didn't get why Clyde stuck around and took Edgar's hot and cold abuse. I didn't understand the depth of their love and the complications of their relationship." Hammer passed, telling his agent that if he couldn't understand it, he wouldn't do well in an audition. Weir persisted, telling him Clint really wanted him to audition. I was like, okay, well, now that you use his name like that, I guess I have to come in, jokes Hammer. Also on speaking on the production of the movie, Army said himself and Leo just came on with their characters without having to do too much, and he eventually says working with Clint kind of gave him ease. He compares watching Eastwood directing to watching a master glass blower make a vase. They don't look like they're trying hard. They're just chill. They'll talk to you while they're doing it. Then all of a sudden they're done, and you have a perfect vase. That's what it's like with Clint. It's like it doesn't require effort for him to do what he does. You think that you're not working hard enough, but in reality, you just have to learn how to trust him. Number 3. Tom Hanks. Thomas Jeffrey Hanks is known for both his comedic and dramatic roles. He is one of the most popular and recognizable film stars worldwide, and is regarded as an American cultural icon, with films having grossed more than $4.9 billion in North America and more than $996 billion worldwide, making him the 4th highest grossing actor in North America. Hanks has received numerous honors, including the AFI Life Achievement Award in 2002, the Kennedy Center Honor in 2014, the Presidential Medal of Freedom and the French Legion of Honor both in 2016, as well as the Golden Globe Cecil B. DeMille Award in 2020. So to say the least, he is widely achieved. After working with Eastwood, veteran actor Tom Hanks has likened Clint Eastwood's directorial style to wrangling animals. Hanks worked with Eastwood for the first time on Sully, the story of a real-life feat of heroism in which his character, Chesley Sully Sullenberger, safely landed an endangered plane in New York's Hudson River in 2009. Hanks told The Graham Norton Show, "You certainly don't want one of those Eastwood looks." Hanks says, he treats his actors like horses because when he did the 60s series Rawhide, the director would shout action, and all the horses bolted. So when he's in charge, he says in a really quiet, soft voice, "All right, go ahead." And instead of shouting, "Cut," he says, "That's enough of that." It's intimidating as hell. Hanks particularly disliked being on the receiving end of Clint Eastwood's disapproving glare. He talks about a time he was sharing an idea with Clint. He says to Clint, "I have this idea maybe for the scene. If I do that and I throw that over to Aaron and then you can cut." And Clint just gives him the good stare he hates so much. Number 4. John Wayne. When Eastwood emerged as Hollywood's new gunslinger in the late 1950s and early 60s, he had nothing but admiration for John Wayne. With Wayne as his role model of sorts, Eastwood revolutionized the immensely popular Western genre. However, Wayne wasn't a fan of Eastwood and his nuanced approach to cowboy acting. John Wayne didn't see the need to have a relationship with the guy who had an admiration for him, but the real issue began when industry writers began comparing the up-and-coming Clint Eastwood to the famed John Wayne. John Wayne preceded Clint in the Western film genre, as Wayne was the star of Hollywood and always played the good guy who saved the day, while Wayne always played the hero who saves the day and sweeps the leading lady into his arms. Eastwood challenged this style with his own more rugged, lonesome cowboy style, and John Wayne hated this. The feud between both actors soon escalated after the release of Eastwood's High Plains Drifter, which would be Eastwood's darkest Western movie to date, in which he starred and directed. Shortly after the movie's arrival, Eastwood sent Wayne a letter to the Duke asking his idol if he'd like to collaborate on a new project. Wayne allegedly replied with an angry letter denouncing High Plains Drifter for its gratuitous violence and revisionist portrayal of the Wild West. Clint Eastwood took the news from his idol by shrugging it off and not answering the greatest Western star of all time, so obviously the two did not work together. If Wayne hadn't hated Eastwood, we may have had the chance to see them together in a film, and when it seemed again like it could be a reality, John Wayne turned down the role again. In the 1970s, both men were approached with a script titled The Hostiles, about a gambler and an old man. Clint Eastwood was interested, but John Wayne was not. John Wayne went ahead and made sour comments that thankfully did not hurt Eastwood's acting or directing career, and Clint famously went on to open his own production company, Malpaso, which has produced many terrific films, just none starring John Wayne. Number 5. Spike Lee. Spike Lee, the highly revered director of Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X, and Black Klansman, among several other blockbusters, has taken issue with Eastwood's discriminatory material. The dispute between the pair can be traced back to 2006, when Eastwood released his double bill of WW2 movies, Letters from Iwo Jima and Flags of Our Fathers. On the surface, these movies would seem touchingly unbiased, given that one tells the story of the Pacific conflicts from the US perspective and the other from that of the Japanese. Spike Lee claims that Eastwood didn't accurately portray the diversity of forces who heroically fought in those battles. He claimed that Eastwood didn't accurately represent the proportion of black soldiers who fought during the war. Spike Lee complained in an interview on Sirius XM at the time and said, "If you blinked, you'd miss the one black person that was in it. There were black Marines." Eastwood allegedly replied to Lee's complaints by telling him he could shut his face, to which Lee publicly retorted, "He's a great director, he makes his films, I make my films, but come on, he sounds like an angry old man right there." Well, reportedly, the two famed directors have since made up and do have a cordial relationship. Number 6. Michael Moore. The feud between Clint Eastwood and director Michael Moore all started with a single tweet in January 2015, when Michael Moore proclaimed that snipers aren't heroes, revealing that his uncle had been killed by one during World War II. Given the timing of the tweet, many thought the documentary filmmaker was taking a dig at Clint Eastwood's American Sniper film. While Moore wrote on Facebook that he wasn't, he did go on to offer his actual opinion on the flick, praising some aspects, including Bradley Cooper's performance, before throwing shade at Eastwood. "Too bad Clint gets Vietnam and Iraq confused in his storytelling," he quipped, "and that he has his characters calling Iraqis savages throughout the film. Or maybe he really was trying to take a dig at Clint the first time." However, Michael thought the movie glorified snipers in a way that he didn't think was appropriate. Rumors then began recirculating that back in 2005, Eastwood had threatened Moore's life, leading Moore to return to Facebook to clarify things. Clint Eastwood stood in front of the National Board of Review Awards dinner and announced to me and to the crowd that he would kill me if I ever came to his house with my camera for an interview, Moore recalled. Despite being a bit stunned by what he called such a violent statement, Moore initially laughed it off, and naturally the audience thought he was kidding, and began to, I assume, nervously laugh, to which Eastwood, who didn't seem to like all that laughter, continued and said, "I mean it!" he barked, and the audience grew more quiet. "I'll shoot you." During an appearance at CinemaCon that April, Eastwood claimed the story wasn't true, via The Guardian, but jokingly added, "It isn't a bad idea." Yikes. Number 7. Red Hot Chili Peppers bassists flee. In August 2016, he infamously opened up to Esquire about his dislike of political correctness, and appeared to praise then-presidential candidate Donald Trump's divisive approach to politics in the process. During the interview, Clint goes, "He's onto something, because secretly everybody's getting tired of political correctness kissing up," Eastwood told the outlet, before unleashing, "That's the kiss-a generation we're in right now. We're really in a pottery generation. Everybody's walking on eggshells. We see people accusing people of being racist and all kinds of stuff. When I grew up, those things weren't called racist." When asked to better explain who exactly falls into said generation, the actor-director added, "All these people that say, 'Oh, you can't do that, and you can't do this, and you can't say that.' I guess it's just the times." Red Hot Chili Peppers bassist Flea felt that some of the remarks made by Eastwood about political correctness in the entertainment industry were inconsiderate, and he was not having it. Wasting no time, the musician took to Twitter to respond, while taking aim at Eastwood and proudly picking a side. In a since-deleted tweet, Flea slammed, "Hey Clint, Eastwood, count me in as a pawnee as we aspire to evolve above racism." Number 8. Sandra Locke. Sandra Locke was a budding actress who had a promising start, earning an Oscar nomination for her performance in 1968's The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. She later met Clint Eastwood, and as the Irish Times put it, their toxic relationship would sadly define her career. Sandra Locke was romantically and professionally involved with Clint Eastwood for many years. According to The Independent, they first co-starred in 1976's The Outlaw Josie Wales, hit it off, moved in together, even though both of them were still legally married, and made 5 more films together. But as Locke told the Washington Post in 1997, "If you were in Clint Eastwood movies, you were in the Clint Eastwood movie business. You weren't in the movie business. People stopped calling." She added, "He didn't make me famous. It was never my fame. It was his fame." Things changed for the couple when Sandra decided to branch out. When Locke voiced her desire to branch out and direct, she said it was the beginning of the end. After 13 years together, Eastwood reportedly changed the locks on their house while she was out. Locke sued for palimony, and Eastwood argued she was just his occasional roommate. They settled out of court once Locke was promised a directing deal with Warner Brothers. It turns out the contract was just a piece of paper which turned out to be fake, and they didn't intend to let her make films. The studio rejected 30 of her scripts. Locke sued for fraud before settling out of court, and the once beautiful and talented Locke tarnished her professional career with her relationship with Eastwood. "My biggest misfortune, my greatest regret," Locke said, "is that I wish I'd cut my time with Clint in half." Number 9. Matt Damon. Matthew Page Damon is a top actor who was ranked among Forbes' most bankable stars in 2007. In 2010, he was one of the highest-grossing actors of all time. Damon has received various awards and nominations, including an Academy Award and 2 Golden Globe Awards, in addition to nominations for 3 British Academy Film Awards and 7 Primetime Emmy Awards. Quite impressive. Just like some who have made a comment about the directing style of Eastwood, Matt Damon opened up about working with Clint on the 2009 film Invictus and the rule that he almost broke. Matt admitted that while Clint usually only allows one take, this can be challenging for even the most experienced actors. In the film, Matt's character has a South African accent that he had to practice. He said, "On day 1 of shooting, we did the first take. It went pretty well." Clint says, "Cut, print, check the gate," which means we're gonna move on. And I said, "Hey boss, maybe you think we could get one more." He just turned and goes, "Why? Do you want to waste everybody's time?" Oops. However, Matt says while most people felt he was hushed, he didn't take much of an offense to the comment and still believes Clint is doing an impressive work while directing at 91 years old. Number 10. Sean Penn. Sean Justin Penn, known for his intense leading man roles in film, has earned numerous career accolades, including 2 Academy Awards, a Cannes Film Festival Award, a Golden Globe Award, 2 Volpe Cup Awards, and a Screen Actors Guild Award, as well as nominations for 3 BAFTA Awards. Penn received the honorary Caesar in 2015. Like many folks, Penn also once complained about Clint's directing style. Penn collaborated alongside Clint Eastwood on the 2003 feature Mystic River. The movie followed the murder of a young girl and an ex-con's attempt at trying to solve the crime. The film was nominated for several Oscar awards and furthered Eastwood's reputation as a director. Although Penn enjoyed the process of working alongside the Dirty Harry star, some of Eastwood's methods as a filmmaker were different than what Penn was used to. Clint Eastwood is a very unusual case. The only thing I learned from him was the value of a sense of calm and quiet on a set. How he makes a movie is a mystery to me, Penn once said in an interview with Rolling Stone. Penn stated that Eastwood's speed caught him off guard at the end of filming Mystic River. "I remember checking into a hotel in Boston to start on the very first day of shooting. 9 weeks later from that day, the entire movie was finished, including the score that he wrote and recorded. This year, 2 major pictures, and acting in one of them. I don't know how he does it," Penn said. If you like this video, do not forget to share and subscribe. Also, let us know in the comments what gets your votes as the celeb who hates Clint Eastwood the most.